Alright, we've done all the Half-Life games, more or less. Now we're on to Opposing Force, which absolutely deserves its own tier list, and is the reason why I did not want to combine all of these into one. Opposing Force, we're doing the same as last time. We got S tier all the way down to S tier. Opposing Force is probably my favorite of the Gold Source games, which does mean that I enjoy it more than Half-Life. Maybe that's a terrible thing to say, but I just said it, so what are you gonna do about it? Anyway, let's get on with it. First of all, we've got Boot Camp, which is the Opposing Force version of the Hazard Course. And I'm putting Boot Camp, okay, in C tier, because Gearbox went all out with this shit. They have special models and animations and tons of voice acting and a whole area. They put so much effort into the tutorial of Opposing Force that it does not feel right putting it in D tier. I really like the tutorial for Opposing Force. So, for that reason, for all of the previous games, I put the Hazard Course in D tier. For Opposing Force, Boot Camp is going in C tier because I think Boot Camp is great. I would feel bad putting this anywhere else. So moving on, we've got Chapter 1, Incoming. Incoming is the simple opening chapter where you are in a helicopter instead of a tram. It is very, very reminiscent of the Aliens sort of introduction to the Marines in Aliens. It's basically the same thing. I'm going to be putting this in D tier. It's really good. I really like this introduction. I really enjoy watching this intro every single time I play the game. There is just something about it that's great. But it's going in D tier because there's no gameplay or anything. But I really like this introduction. I like it more than the tram rides, to be honest. It's a great intro. Moving on to Chapter 2, Welcome to Black Mesa. So, helicopter crashes. You wake up with a scientist telling you that, shenanigans have gone on. Technically, Adrian Shepard, the person you're playing as, never actually received his orders, so that's Opposing Force's excuse for why you don't go around killing all of the scientists that you find. In previous tier lists for Half-Life 1 and Blue Shift, I rated the intro chapters quite low. I really like Welcome to Black Mesa. I'm putting this in A tier because I think Welcome to Black Mesa is a really good, really fast introduction to Half-Life. You immediately get the new weapon, which is like the Deagle or whatever it is with the laser sights. It's a really great intro. I really like this introduction. There is something about it that I really enjoy. So I'm putting this in A tier because I think it's a great intro. Maybe I'm crazy for putting it up there, but I think it's a great intro. So moving on to the next chapter, we are pulling out. This is where you get basically reunited with your unit or whatever, and of course, they're leaving. They're pretty much saying, "Screw this, we're done. We're getting out of here." This is going into D tier. I will put it above Incoming, but this is, I guess you could say, like more of a narrative chapter. This is a very short chapter. It's more of a narrative type of thing, where you're just, you're shown that G-Man prevents you from leaving in the chopper. I should probably mention at this point as well that Opposing Force by Valve is considered non-canon. Opposing Force did not happen. Race X did not happen, and all the stuff that happens in Opposing Force is not canon. I kind of agree with that. I like to, in my own head canon, I like to imagine that certain aspects of Opposing Force are canon, but I thought I'd just throw that out there that Opposing Force is not considered canon. Chapter 4, Missing in Action. So this is where we really get going. This is where you really sort of get into Opposing Force. The soundtrack for Opposing Force, I think this is a good time to mention, the soundtrack for Opposing Force is great. I really like the soundtrack for Opposing Force. It is very Half-Life-esque, but in a sort of military kind of way. It really fits the theme. Really like the soundtrack for Opposing Force. The guy who did it did a really good job, and I believe that some of his music was going to be used in the Half-Life 2 beta, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it was supposed to be used in Half-Life 2 at some point, but they ended up not doing it, or it was just placeholder for the beta or something like that. Anyway, you get introduced to the pit drones in this chapter. You get introduced to quite a lot of things in this chapter. There's environmental hazards you have to avoid, and it ends with you meeting up with sort of two of your squad mates, which leads on to sort of the next chapter. This is S tier. Missing in action is fucking great. I really like this chapter. It does a lot of things really well. I just really like this chapter. I think this is where Opposing Force really gets going. And then we move into Friendly Fire, which is chapter 5. This is also absolutely S tier. This is essentially just a continuation of Missing in Action. You get a lot of combat. You get introduced to the Black Ops. You have more squad mates to run around with. I really like the squad mates in Opposing Force. I really like sort of fighting alongside of them. It's always been my thing with Half-Life 4, is a thing that I think a lot of people like about Half-Life, is the friendly NPCs have always been a big aspect of it, and I really like the Opposing Force soldier dudes that you get to run around with. There's some really nice sort of combat arenas that are very Half-Life 1-esque in this chapter as well. You get the light machine gun, which is kind of a shit weapon on hard difficulty. The light machine gun does not do a lot of damage, but it's all right. You know, the chapter itself is great. It's S tier. This is I'm just gonna say now, the best chapter in the entire game, in my opinion. Missing in Action and Friendly Fire are great chapters. So moving on to chapter 6, We Are Not Alone. This is a very short chapter. You go to Zen for like 5 seconds. You see, you know that Opposing Force is great because they don't send you to Zen. You go to Zen for like 5 seconds in this chapter, and that's about it. You get the Displacer Cannon in this chapter, which is effectively the BFG from Doom. It's also a weapon that if you right-click, you can teleport to other areas using it in certain maps, which I think is really cool. That's just a really cool feature. I really like that. And in this chapter, if you pick it up and then right-click with it immediately, it will take you to the hazard course. Like, it will take you to a little bit of the hazard course from Half-Life 1. I really like that kind of stuff. That's really great. But I'm going to be putting this into C tier because it's a very short chapter. It's effectively a recycled area as well from Half-Life 1 because it's the Lambda Core. You see Gordon running into the teleporter at the end of Lambda Core in this chapter. It's a very short chapter. It's not too great. Also, you go to Zen, and I don't like Zen very much. But you only go there for 5 seconds, which is good. But this is C tier. It's a very short chapter. So next up we got Crush Depth. This is where you sort of see, I guess, where sort of another element of Black Mesa makes no sense, right? Like, Black Mesa as a place doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's fine. Crush Depth, I guess, is where they've been testing the teleportation of it in water, I think, or for whatever reason, that's always what I interpreted this area as. Maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to put Crush Depth in B tier. I see a lot of people rate Crush Depth very low because they don't like swimming around with the things I can't pronounce.
No.
And not really having the weapons to kill them. But I'm alright with Crush Depth. I kind of like it. I kind of like the aesthetics of it, and I think the gameplay is alright. I don't have a problem with Crush Depth. I also don't have I don't dislike it, but I also don't have much to say about it, which is why I think it belongs in D tier. I don't want to put it in C tier, because I definitely enjoy it quite a bit. Next up, we've got Chapter 8, Vicarious Reality. So this is sort of like the Zen habitats that Black Mesa has built. Don't have a huge amount to say about this chapter. You get the barnacle weapon, which is kind of I guess it's not really a weapon, it's more of a grappling hook that you're supposed to use to move around with, and it's not every time I've played Opposing Force, I haven't found it to be particularly useful. It's alright. I'm gonna put this in B tier because I don't think it belongs in C tier. I don't like it as much as Crush Depth, there's a lot of long, open corridors that you have to run along. That's mostly what I remember from Vicarious Reality. It's an alright chapter. It's alright. Don't have a particularly massive amount to say about it, but I don't want to put it in C tier because it's alright. I don't dislike playing it at all. I'll just kind of play it. Then we've got Pitworm's Nest, which is chapter 9. So this is effectively, right, this is Blast Pit. This is Blast Pit. This is like I'm going to say, dare I say, it is an improved version of Blast Pit, where you defeat a giant worm monster that's there for some reason. It's alright. It ain't too bad. I like it more than Blast Pit in Half-Life 1. But it is gonna go in C tier because sort of just like Blast Pit, really. Not a massive amount for me to say about it. I do like it more than Blast Pit, as I keep saying, but I'm gonna put this one in C tier because I like Crush Depth and Vicarious much more than it, so I'm gonna leave that there. Next up, we've got Foxtrot Uniform. Okay. Right, Foxtrot Uniform. This might be. Let me just put this in real quick. This is a very difficult to rate chapter for me. This might be the most difficult chapter for me to rate because there are parts of Foxtrot Uniform that are really good, where you meet up with some other Marines and you get to fight in these open areas where there's Black Ops and Race X. I also believe this is where you get the sniper rifle, which is a really good weapon. So there are elements of this, right? There are elements of this that I really enjoy. So the elements where with your Marines and you're fighting the Black Ops and you're fighting Race X in the outdoor areas, the outdoor sort of arena areas, that's really good. I really enjoy that stuff. But then there's a part in this chapter, okay, where you have to run through a gauntlet of vortigors, I believe is how it's pronounced. You have to run through a pitch black gauntlet of vortigor tunnels. That is shit. It is the shittiest shit out of, like, if you're playing on hard difficulty, this is pure ass. Fucking hate the bit where you have to run through the tunnels in pitch black darkness. If you're playing on hard difficulty, even normal, you will probably die here multiple times. Right? So, I'm going to put Foxtrot Uniform, okay, in A tier. Right? You gotta understand though. I'm putting this in A tier because I really enjoy the bits of this chapter where you're with the Marines and you're fighting the Black Ops and Race X and outside. The bit in the tunnels that is part of this chapter is straight up tier. Okay? Fucking terrible. Dog shit. Awful. Worst fucking shit in the game. 100%. And so I wanted to be clear, right? This goes in A tier for the bits I really like. Now, you're probably thinking, if parts of this are A tier and parts of this are S tier, surely this should go, like, in the middle somewhere. And I suppose you're right, but I've decided to put it in A tier because I do really, really like the good bits of this chapter, but I fucking hate the really bad bits. So I'm going to leave this in A tier. I'm going to leave it in A tier because I really do 100% like really enjoyed the bits that are good. Which is, I guess, kind of most of it, but the Vortigor tunnels, right? That's tier. The Vortigor shit in this chapter is tier, but I'm gonna leave it in A tier. But it needs to be very. People are gonna really dislike me for doing this because people are gonna say, oh, it should be, if certain parts of this chapter are awful, then it should be rated lower. But I'm gonna put it in A tier because I really enjoy like the bits of this chapter that I remember. They're the bits I really enjoy. Okay. So I would say this belongs in. I'm going to put this in A tier. It's my tier list. I can do what I want. But the bits in the tunnels, fucking terrible. Whoever came up with that is just pure dog shit gameplay and level design. Awful. But the other bits are A tier. So we're just going to pretend that the whole tunnel bit doesn't exist, okay? And that's where I'm leaving it. I probably shouldn't. I probably should put this. Really, I probably should put this in B tier. but I want to put it in A tier because I really enjoy the good bits of this chapter, and I don't want to put it like all the way down here because it's just one bit. It's one bit of this chapter that I don't like, but yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there, and we're gonna not talk about it anymore. We then move on to chapter 11, which is the package. Oh god. So this suffers, right? This suffers from the same problem that Foxtrot Uniform suffers from, but worse. That's probably a very bad way of explaining this. This chapter is very similar to Foxtrot Uniform's shitty-ass fucking Vortigor tunnels, where most of this chapter is a gauntlet. And for that reason, I'm going to put this all the way down in C tier. So I replayed this chapter specifically for doing this tier list, because I just wanted to sort of remind myself whether I was correct on this, and I think I am correct. The package is an extremely irritating gauntlet, and if you're playing on high difficulty, if you're playing on hard, this shit is awful. This shit is really fucking difficult. It is a very unfun gauntlet of very big, wide open areas. It is like the worst. It's literally Foxtrot Uniform if it was worse. And that's my opinion of it. I don't like this chapter very much at all because of the big, wide open areas and just ridiculous amount of enemies that you have to push through. It sucks. I don't like this at all. So I'm gonna put this one down in C tier because this one is a lot more ass, right? This is a lot more negative in it overall, whereas Foxtrot Uniform just has one bit that I absolutely detest, but I don't want to put it any lower than A tier because I do really enjoy it. So we're coming down to the end of Opposing Force. Suddenly we're at the end. Worlds Collide, which is chapter 12, this is basically the end of the game with the final boss fight. I suppose, as far as final boss fights go, Worlds Collide has the best fight, right? Because Blue Shift didn't have a final boss, but obviously Half-Life does. I suppose I like Opposing Forces ending boss more than Half-Life 1. But it's... I suppose Half-Life 1's Nihilith has more of a epic scale to it because it's so, huge, but... I'm going to put Worlds Collide into C tier. I'll put it above We Are Not Alone. But I actually like the Pitworm Nest more than I do the ending chapter. The ending chapter also suffers from more of that gauntlet bullshit where you have to fight through a ridiculous amount of Black Ops dudes, which I don't particularly like, especially on hard difficulty. My god. It gets really difficult, this chapter, to fight through all those dudes. But, Worlds Collide is alright. And then finally we have Conclusion, which is just the ending, where he gets stuck into... Adrian Shepard gets put into stasis forever's, never to be seen again, and I very much doubt we will ever see him again because he's not canon. Anyway, Conclusion just goes on the end of D list, D tier, like I usually do. But anyway, there's my Opposing Force tier list. This one, even though I think I've blown through this quite quickly, this was a really, really, really difficult one for me to put together for some reason. I rearranged this list like multiple times, and I'm still not 100% sure whether I'm happy with this, but I'm gonna leave it like this, because I think this is the fairest... This is the fairest I can come up with. Opposing Force, I really like Opposing Force, and as I said, I like it more than Half-Life, which might sound crazy, but it definitely has its moments that are shit. It has its really good moments and its really shit moments. And you have chapters like Foxtrot Uniform that have its really good moments and its really shit moments. So that's my Opposing Force tier list. There you go. I've done Half-Life. I'm not doing any more. There ain't no more Half-Life. It's over. Get out of here. We're done.